episode number 3 of podcast. Going to be joined today with Darren, Chamlee, and Swanson. Going to be discussing that broker-customer relationship. Charlie also dabbles in the carrier side of things, so I'm sure we'll go over current market conditions and stuff like this. But let's jump right into it. What's going on, guys?
What's going on, man?
Hey,
How's everyone doing?
doing good.
Well, I'm on my lunch break and I'm smoking a cigar with you guys, so I'm doing just fine.
So, Darren, you're in New York, and Charlie, you're in Florida right now.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to apologize to everyone in advance. I just moved Sunday, so I got a temporary setup for today's show.
You didn't get to put your Basquiat painting on the wall yet, or?
Nah, I got my nice 100-year-old wood fireplace, so that's my decorations for today.
To start?
There you go.
But let's jump into it, man. I mean, Darren, how'd you get into logistics? Where was your start?
Well, my start was in the military. I guess this is kind of funny. I did security, which is ATFP, which is anti-terrorism, and me being me and the genius that I am, got in trouble. So I couldn't carry a gun for a month, and they went and attached me to the logistics department. It was my punishment. So believe it or not, now that I'm out of the military and everything, my punishment in the military has essentially become my career.
So basically, your punishment for not being able to hold a gun was to enter logistics.
Yeah, it was a pretty good one. I mean, I think about it on a daily basis as to why I still do this. Like, the military was foreshadowing me. It told me, hey, you don't want to be in this industry. And I still signed up for it anyways. So,
Yeah. I mean, Charlie, what about you? How did you get your start?
In trucking or shipping? Because I'm a shipper too.
I mean, logistics in general. I mean, where was your first start? What was
Well, I trade agricultural commodities. I'm a peanut trader, so I'm buying peanuts and selling them and all that stuff. And the best way to answer your question, that's how I got into trucking. I had to hire trucks out anyway, so I just kind of, started it myself, and yeah.
you got started with peanuts?
Well, yeah, we're in the birdseed business. I mean, I know it sounds funny, but the volume on that, it's quite a big volume.
Yeah. No, I was going through. There was a LinkedIn post that caused some controversy, like I don't know, like a month or two ago, of a broker who was explaining that like 9 out of 10 trucks she sends to peanut pickups are getting rejected, and like there's definitely volume in that commodity for sure.
Yeah. Well, that just goes back to the food safety stuff. You gotta, as you guys know, if your trailer's got a hole in it or just any issue with the trailer, these shippers are really cracking down on that stuff.
Yeah.
and I could have, I should have sent you my rate confirmation for Charlie's loads, Alex, before we did this. It says it 4 times in all capital letters with stars running down the side of it. It has to be a food grade trailer, no holes, no leaks,
Yeah.
because it'll get rejected, or the product it'll mold, and Charlie can't process that into bird feed at that point. So
Yeah, I mean, peanuts from that LinkedIn post, like we'd gathered that peanuts. Where are you based out of with that, if you don't mind me asking? I mean, where is most of the peanuts coming out of?
Yep, no, you're good. We ship weekly out of South Georgia, Alabama, and Oklahoma.
Yeah, so from that post, because I was saying I picked up a lot of peanuts out of Eastern North Carolina, and that post is telling me that Georgia, for whatever reason, those shippers are way more strict when it comes to peanuts.
Yeah, Georgia's your biggest peanut producing state, so a lot of your shippers are going to be in South Georgia.
Yeah. I mean, Darren, what was your first position? Like, what was your first role in logistics? Besides the military aspect of it, I mean, what was your first civilian exposure to logistics?
So I was at one of the big 3-letter companies that everybody loves so much. I started at TQL with Ken Oakes and those guys. Shout out Uncle Ken, I miss you, love you, man. But it was
I keep forgetting that was your start. I already knew the answer to that. Just keep forgetting about it.
Hey, I'm not knocking TQL at all, man. It's great training. I started just like everybody there does. You learn the operational aspect for probably 3 to 4 months, and you're just booking loads and handling a broker's freight day in and day out for the first few months, and then you go through sales training. Once you complete sales training, you do proving ground, and if you make it, you stay on. If not, you're gone. That's why they say they have a revolving door.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I've always said there's certain companies in certain industries where anyone can say what they want about it, but that's like university. You go in, you learn the business, and then you kind of step away from those kind of companies. I mean, some people stay. That's good for them. But I mean, let's get away from all of that. Let's get away from maybe those are like touchy topics. What I'm interested in, so maybe if people are watching this and don't know, so Darren brokers Charlie's freight. That's like the relationship. So Charlie's Darren's customer. And I kind of want to get into like for a question for Charlie, like how did Darren first make contact with you? Because I know a lot of people, like that's a huge discussion. How do you approach customers? How do you stand out? So what was your first kind of contact with Darren?
Are you asking me or Darren?
Oh, yeah, I'm asking you.
Oh, yeah, no, Darren. Well, I mean, we have a great relationship. I mean, a lot of it's just is trust. I mean, I think he reached out to me when he was with wasn't TQL. I think it was Mega Corp.
I think I was with it was Dicom
or Dicom. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we got started from there.
But I mean, how was the initial first contact? Like, did he hit you up on email, phone call? Like, how did you guys meet?
It was phone call, wasn't it?
Yeah. Of course. I'm old school. I'm not like when I reach out to somebody, I'm not sending you a fucking email. You can just put that in the trash. Like, I'm gonna call you, and I'm gonna keep calling you until you answer the phone.
So you caught him on the classic cold call.
Well,
right.
And I think that's. I mean, not to hop in. I mean, I'm from the old school too. And I think that's my opinion, totally the way to go. Not knocking the younger generation, but you know how the guys are. I mean, they're email, everything's email. You can't build a relationship when you're emailing. I mean, you can follow it up with an email. You're never going to build a relationship on an email. I mean, I'm kind of stating
I think you can make a lot more ground in the first like 5 minutes of a phone call than you could in 500 emails. I mean, you can feel somebody out pretty quickly over a phone call.
Exactly.
Well, look at it this way. I mean, I'm sitting here smoking a cigar at lunch. My customer is in his home office in Florida with his ball cap on, and you're at home, and we're all just regular guys. So.
Right.
What I can't convey a human connection over an email.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I've always said this. Certain people want to be spoken to very formally, very professionally. And certain people that do great business and large volumes of business, you just want to, like, talk to people how you would talk, like how we're talking right now, like normal people,
Right.
So, I mean, it all depends where you're at, who you're talking to. But when it comes down to it, like, you guys seem like you're just, like, it's like your friends moving freight. You just have like a common goal. But at the end of the day, you guys are just like buddies,
Well, don't get me wrong. Like, if I do my job incorrectly, Charlie's gonna bust my ass, and he has numerous times. It's because I screwed up or my driver screwed up, But yeah, I think there is a lot of the personal aspect that goes into it. Maybe I get a little more leeway than a new broker would.
I mean, what do you guys think about this? The comment basically, to sum it up, is can a broker and shipper have a great relationship, or a customer, if they're not similar guys? Because I mean, you guys are very similar. You guys have the same type of personalities. But I mean, you guys think you can have success if you were total opposites,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Charlie.
Yeah, no, I mean, my 2 cents is, I guess, kind of wearing my shipping hat. Let's be honest, it's all confidence. I mean, obviously, it's a rate. You got to come in with a good low rate. But if the communication, and I'm stating the obvious here, I mean, if the communication is there and the confidence is there, then the margin will come. I mean, I'm right to the point. It's like, that's why I like the phone call, because you do all this through an email or a text. You're like, well, I think it's going to pick up, but I don't know. But it's just, I mean, Darren does an awesome job of communicating. I mean, that's the whole deal. It's communication and trust. I mean, you guys know how it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the most basic pillars of any part of logistics at this point.
Right.
I mean, Darren, what do you think? You have customers. You think you can have success dealing with people that, like, you ever put the corporate hat on and just, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am? Like,
I have to do it every day. And to answer that question, yeah, you absolutely can. I have some people that I have to call and tell there's a problem, and they act like a dead fish. Like there's just no emotional reaction, no nothing.
Dead fish, bro.
Yeah, it's but we do what we're supposed to do for the most part, and stuff gets picked up. So when there is a problem, I get that like dead air, dead fish kind of thing. But they come back because I'm basically a number to them, and as long as my number is not out of line with the other numbers, they don't say anything.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, that kind of leads me into a question that I want to ask Charlie. Like, Charlie, you care what Darren's paying carriers, or you don't really care? Like, whatever price he quotes you, you're happy
Yep.
if the job's getting done.
Yep. No, very good question. So here's the way I put it, and I'm right to the point, maybe too much, but I'm like, I don't care if a broker's making $100 on me or $500 or whatever, as long as it gets the rate that I need to be at, so I can trade the load, and the communication is there, and the confidence that it's going to pick up. If he can beat the carrier down and make a good margin, more power to him. That's the way I view it. I mean, that's business 101.
Yeah. So I mean, realistically, you don't care. You have no. You don't even think about it, like what the carriers are getting paid.
No. I mean, well, you can. Some people look at it that way, but either glass half full or half empty. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just if he can beat that, that's just a good broker. If he can beat the truck down and make more margin on his end, more power to him.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing I like about Darren, though, from the encounters we've had, is that, I mean, he does his job for the customer, but he's communicating correctly. I mean, he tells the carriers, this is what's up, this is the rate, it is what it is. I mean, that's the thing. I think there's a lot of hostility, and people think brokers are making like 50% margins on all the freight. And at the end of the day, like you see, Charlie's the customer. He doesn't care. Like the customer doesn't care what the carrier gets paid. It's up to the broker to do the best on quoting. I mean, you guys still have to win the freight. So, I mean, when it comes down to it, you could get under bid $500. I mean, I don't care how much Charlie loves you. I think to save that amount of money,
I'm going to tell Charlie to take the other truck. I mean, that's just, and I've done that before.
Yeah. Well, and I think my 2 cents on this is, so now things are different. Everybody knows they got the load boards, so you can book trucks direct too. And I don't mind doing it because I do like booking trucks direct. But at the end of the day, it's kind of a babysitting job I mean, let's be honest. And if I'm busy with other stuff, I just call Darren, like, dude, I just don't have time to go through the hassle of booking these. Here's what I need. And, because at the end of the day, time is money. I mean, it really is,
Yeah, I mean, I actually had that question written down over here. Like, what are the benefits of using Darren, using a broker to you? And I think you just kind of outlined it anyways. It's just saving you time. So.
Absolutely.
Oh, Charlie has other things he could be doing aside from playing around with that board all day. Like, he could be trading commodities or doing what pumps the lifeblood into his business. He can't spend 7 hours screwing around with trucks.
Yeah. I mean, we've kind of outlined like how to approach the customer, this kind of stuff. I mean, Charlie, you want to get into it, like you do some of the carrier side as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's your operation look like? Trucks, like truck count. I mean, what are you doing?
I was just running. I had 3 trucks rolling. Like I said, I'm basically getting out of it. It's just the best way to put it. The rates. I mean, there's no secret. Rates are terrible. I mean, we're hoping they're gonna increase. I'm talking now on the van side. Obviously, dry vans. Like I was telling Darren earlier today, it's just dry vans is more. It's just a commodity. I mean, obviously that's your biggest volume is moving on vans. Now, if you go to tanker freight or oversize or hazmat, obviously it's more of a niche market. You're going to pay more, obviously, on the rate, but then your insurance is going to be higher too.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we're struggling. Everybody's struggling with insurance costs as a carrier, especially now we're doing all the new registration. Everybody's going through registration right now. I mean, insurance, I think people like really don't understand like what the carriers are going through on the cost side of things, with like just insurance premiums in general.
Yeah, workers' comp and everything. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like you said, it's no secret the rates are not great. I think this question's pretty good though. Like, how does the shipper come up with what they think the cost to ship is? I mean, since you're on the carrier side too, it's like you have a pretty good knowledge of the market.
Yep, great question. So, I mean, that's the nice thing, like I said, with everybody's got the load board. I mean, I think the DAT does an awesome job. I mean, it's no secret now. I mean, the you can on the DAT board, it'll say what that lane's paying. Obviously you kind of lowball it, and when the push comes to shove, then you bump the rate up a little bit. I mean, I think everybody does that. But yeah, I mean, it's transparency. There's no secret. Everybody should know what the rates are. If they don't, they're just not doing their homework, because it's right on the load board. It'll say what the lane's paying.
Yeah. I mean, what's up with you guys? Like, when it comes down to sourcing trucks, when it comes down to the rates, I mean, is rate all that matters to you, Charlie, or are you willing to be in the middle somewhere where, like, the rate's low enough, but Darren's bringing you, like, just never giving you headaches?
I'm sorry.
No worries.
I'm sorry. What was that?
How important to you is the rate versus the service? I mean, are you happy with Darren's rates and service, or
no, great question. Great question. I mean, my best way I can answer that is you get what you pay for. I mean, it really is. I mean, yeah, obviously the rates are important. I mean, everybody knows that, but for me personally, I would rather pay a little bit more and have confidence that the darn thing's going to pick up and deliver and not have issues. Because let's be honest, there's carriers out there that, they'll flake out on you. They'll say, yeah, I'll go pick it up. And then you can't get a hold of the driver, like, where the heck's the driver? Oh, he's only, 5 minutes away. And he's, you guys know the whole deal. It's a circus.
Yeah, it's okay. Darren will just slap them with a freight guard when they cancel on you last minute.
No, I don't slap you with a freight guard. I just put in the rate con, hey, every minute you're late, I'll just deduct $250.
When's the last time you filed a freight guard? Have you even ever filed a freight guard? Have you had to?
I have. I had a guy hold a load hostage. Of course, I filed one on him. I had a guy get busted at the border with cocaine in his truck. I definitely filed a freight guard for that. I had a female driver try and go on a military base with meth in her truck. I slapped a freight guard on that, but
yeah, hey,
maybe 4 or 5 times.
I had the driver go into the military base and forgot that he had a gun with him, so that caused some issues. Luckily, they just took his gun and let us pick up, so we were okay there.
Yeah, that presents a problem. Meth they frown upon a little more.
Yeah, I think meth, like guns in America, are a lot more widely accepted than meth would be.
Right.
I mean, tell me, guys, like, how's the typical interaction with you guys? You guys talking on the phone a lot now that you're with each other? Or is it just a lot of here's the loads on email, cover them?
Go ahead, Charlie.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Again, I'm old school. I prefer phone. I mean, obviously, when I got a little larger volume, I'll probably put it all in a text or an email. But yeah, I'm old school. I prefer everything kind of over the phone. I'm kind of type A, probably too much, but yeah. I mean, again, it just goes back to confidence,
I still use a fucking notepad every time I talk to you, so if that tells you anything, right there. But it's pretty basic, like. Charlie will give me the lanes he's got. We might talk about what the market's doing, what we expected to do, and then we'll sit there and bullshit about football or whether he's going to the beach or playing golf or whatever for the weekend.
Breaking your balls about basketball before we got on the show.
Yeah, but that takes time. Like it wasn't just right out of the gate. Charlie and I were talking about the Vikings or the Dolphins or how bad Auburn sucked in the NCAA tournament this year. But yeah, now it's, hey, this is what we got to get done. And I think he knows, I'll do it. And okay, I understand what he wants. Where are you trying to be rate wise? And I guess what most people would call pretty much just screw off the rest of the conversation, more or less.
Yeah. I mean, how do you guys go about problem solving? Like, Charlie, when there's issues, I mean, let's say, Darren's got a bad fall off half hour before shipper closes. I mean, how are you guys dealing with problems? I mean, is it calm? Is it understanding? Is there some heated moments between you guys?
That's a great question, because that'll happen in trucking. I mean, let's be honest. Like I said, I do book a lot of my own freight still, and now that I'm getting a little busier on my shipping side, I'm kind of using brokers a little bit more. But to answer your question, that's part of trucking, and fallouts will happen. It's not if they're going to happen; it will happen, and it's going to happen more because of the double brokering and all this crap that's going on. So it just goes back again to communication, and Darren does an awesome job on that. Say, hey man, I had a guy fall out on me. You know, like I always tell people, I'd rather know that so we have time to recover it, as opposed to not letting me know, and we're 20 minutes before the shipper closes, and then we're screwed. It's just being transparent. Transparency is the key.
Because I think a lot of people on LinkedIn, like even I think a day or two ago, some guy, God, what were we talking about? People have this conception that like as a broker that they're not allowed to tell the customer anything. Like I'm not allowed. I'm gonna look bad if I ask the customer any questions. I'm gonna look bad. I'm scared to tell the customer things. Like I feel like that's not the right. I mean, I'm not a broker, but to me, I feel like that's not the right way to do things.
Well, that doesn't make you a broker. That makes you an idiot. I mean, yeah, it sucks. Of course, when we have a fallout on a Saturday, an hour before one of Charlie's loads is going to pick up, he's going to be pissed. Obviously, I expect him to be pissed. Like that's how he makes his living. That's how he gets his product to sell it to his customers. And a lot of people get their feelings hurt or upset. Oh, this guy's so mean. No, it's just what it is in that moment. And a lot of people run from that. That's why they don't tell their customer they have a problem, and then it balloons into a bigger problem.
Right. Here's the best way I put it. I always tell people I'm not going to be pissed if, again, because fallouts happen. That's not Darren's fault, or that's not any broker's fault. Fallouts on loads happen quite a bit, actually. So I would rather have the broker be honest with me so we have time to go to plan B or recover it, as opposed to saying, oh, I don't want Charlie to be pissed, so I just won't tell him. No, I'm not going to be pissed, but I will be pissed if he waits till 5 minutes before the shipper closes and then say, oh, well, we got a problem. You know what I mean? It's, again, just going back to the transparency deal.
So,
I just don't like that debate. A lot of I get into some heated stuff on the internet with people as a carrier. And they're always like, you don't understand, man. If I tell my shipper something, I'm going to look stupid. He's going to take the freight away from me. And I'm always like, but shouldn't telling the shipper customer the truth, shouldn't that be like the main thing? Like, isn't
Absolutely.
that supposed to go?
Yeah. Well, if there's a problem and there's one problem and they take all your freight away for that, they were going to take that freight away anyways. So,
yeah, exactly.
That's the same kind of customer that'll sell you out because a guy he'll come in and underquote you $20.
Yeah.
Very, very well put.
I mean, how does accessorials work with you guys? I mean, Darren, if somebody needs detention, you have to wait on Charlie. I mean, how does that go? How do you guys handle that?
What's detention? No, I'm kidding. I'm very fortunate with Charlie's freight. Most of his shippers big guys are out of there inside of an hour and a half, and then a lot of times it comes to Charlie and Belle Plaine, so they're unloading the truck. That's one area him and I don't really have to deal with that much, just because the operation's very efficient. So I don't know that we're really best to answer that for you. I think I may have had to charge Charlie detention one time, and he just said, "Oh yeah, I already know about it. It's fine."
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, it's better. That's the easiest solution to detention is to not have any.
Well, and it just goes back to communication. I mean, detention happens. If you get trucks, I mean, you can, in a perfect world, you can try to stagger your trucks out with delivery appointments and all that. Let's be honest. Sometimes, some days, they just all show up at the same time. So, I mean, it's just drivers, they're under, how it is. They're under the gun. They're trying to get to their reload and all that. And
everyone's always in a rush if they have the next load.
Right.
I mean, I don't know, guys. Like, what are we gonna talk about here? Like, how? What are some tips you guys would give people? What do you guys wish carriers would do more, brokers would do more? I mean,
one other thing I was going to ask, not to interrupt, but going back to that detention, Raycons are the key, because on our Raycons, now I'm talking now from my shipping side, when we're booking a truck with a broker or carrier, whoever it might be, we put on there, detention doesn't start until, after 2 hours. And then the other thing is and I'm not trying to get on my soapbox here, but like load straps, securing the load, because that's the other thing too. Claims can happen if the load's not secured properly. We got shifting in transit, and that's a whole other can of worms. So it just goes
I
back to your
think
rate con.
every shifting in transit I've had in my career, I've just blamed it on the shippers. I've got pretty lucky. I've beat so many claims. So, like, as you can see here, this was a shipper error because this one pallet was damaged, then it tipped over there. So I've got lucky with that one, man. But yeah, no, rate con. I mean, that is what it is. Like, if it's in the rate con, as a broker, as a shipper, you just tell the carrier, you just look at the paper, case closed, have a nice day. I mean, that's why a lot of carriers, they really gotta, like, I don't know. I don't even know how we have to say this. Like, read the rate con. You gotta read it. It takes a minute. I mean, I tell all my drivers, I'll send them the rate con, and nobody ever reads anything. And I just tell them, like, I just highlight the important parts in yellow to make sure that if they ever have an issue, I'm like, bro, come on, it's in bright yellow. Like, how did you not at least read the condensed version I've made for you, But yeah, reading rate cons, that's like, I mean, should be day one type of stuff. I mean, here's another question. How many shippers think poorly of carriers due to the miscommunication of the broker? We never overpromise, but many times when we call the shipper, we find out that the broker has overpromised. I mean, Darren, what did you do here? What did you do wrong this time?
I don't know. She probably called in to get updates or something, and I was out smoking a cigar. No, I'm kidding.
She's just currently running your freight, and you're just doing this.
Yeah, right. I don't know. A lot of times, as the broker, the customer doesn't ask me about what the carrier said or what was going on aside from it's late. So most of the onus falls on me there because I'm the one that's in direct communication with the customer. Now I have seen brokers blame the carrier when the carrier did absolutely nothing wrong to, skate around it. But
I mean, I guess this question wasn't even supposed to be for you at all. So let's bring it back to Charlie.
Fair enough.
I mean, Charlie, have you ever have a bad opinion about any carriers that have run your freight as a shipper?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Didn't even skip a beat. Like, oh yeah, I hate certain carriers.
Well, I mean, it goes back to, again, let's be honest, you get what you pay for. I mean, yeah, everybody wants stuff hauled cheap, obviously, but you do get what you pay for. And I'm not trying to be whatever, but there's guys that are driving that I don't know how they got their CDL, but they won't be driving my truck. We'll put it that way. I mean, it's just,
what like I mean, I don't know how to attack this question. Poorly of carriers due to miscommunication of the broker. So the broker overpromised something to the shipper and the carrier couldn't deliver.
Well, and not to speak for Darren, but I think a lot of brokers, they want the freight, right? They want the load. So in a perfect, maybe they're kind of overcommitting and under promise. Like they're thinking best case scenario. So they're thinking if that driver gets empty, he hits no traffic, he can make it there in time. When in reality, it doesn't happen that way. He's going to hit traffic. He's going to hit a scale. Something's going to happen, and he's delayed. So,
dude, I mean, I told my best customer a week or two ago. My driver told me I'm empty. I'll be there at like 2:38 by GPS, and it was like a 2.5 hour drive. And I told my broker, I was like, hey, I think we're gonna miss the 3:15 cutoff. My ETA is like 30 minutes before that, but I mean anything can happen in 30 minutes. And long story short, we just made the decision that we're just gonna pivot the load for 2 days to pick up, and then I'll just keep my truck today. Because I told him, like, I'm gonna make it, but what if I don't? Like anything can happen on the road. I think when I'm booking freight, I always under promise because it's much easier that way. Like I'll tell the broker I can pick up at 2 p.m. and deliver at 9 a.m. In reality, I could pick up probably at like 1:30. I could deliver by 7 a.m. But I mean, when you under promise and over deliver, that's always a much better strategy than over promising under deliver.
No, I agree.
Like I'd rather like tell people the wrong ETA, but like I'll be earlier, you know. Like I'll just tell a later ETA. It's like easier.
Oh, and I do that in my personal life. I'm like, yeah, just way under promise. Do one like halfway decent thing, and then you're
How
whatever.
does the you get what you pay for affect your shipping quote? I mean, do you ever quote super low, or do you know like you kind of know what you're supposed to pay, and if somebody comes in under that, you're scared. Like you already know it's going to be a bad experience.
Yeah, I mean, so with me, we own the product, so not to get into that whole thing, but I'll sell out stuff before I have actually ownership on it. But I got a pretty good idea what I'm going to be able to buy it for. Pretty good idea, worst case, what my freight cost is going to be. So I'm always in my mind, I'm always thinking worst case. Um, things, knock on wood. Sometimes the market on my trading side can kind of fluctuate, and then things get a little hairy. But like I always tell people, it's whatever you can sleep with at night. I mean, that's really kind of however much risk you want to take. The freight.
If we look at it from like Darren, you ever bring, or do you just not even bring these options? Like, you guys ever see between the two of you doing business, like somebody comes in way cheaper than what you guys are normal? Like, let's say you guys used to running a lane at 900, Darren brings you a 600 option. Are you like worried about that? Like, are you both worried about that? Like, because I mean, if you get what you pay for, the guy's coming in ridiculously under the market. I mean, you should probably know something's gonna go wrong.
Well, hop in, Darren. I would be more concerned about double broker, or sometimes it's a scam. I mean, if it if something's too good to be true, there's a reason why they're running it that cheap. Or on the flip side, if a lane's paying really good money, there's a reason why. I mean, yeah, granted, sometimes it's a hot shipment and they got money to spend to get it moving. But if something's too good to be true, a lot of times in trucking, let's be honest, it is.
Yeah, I mean, this Adam has a good point.
Don't you think, Darren?
I completely agree with you. I was going to say the first thought is if you undercut the market by $300-$400, I immediately think you're a double broker.
Immediately, like, just start sounding the alarm bells immediately.
No, I mean, even though trucking rates are down, everybody still shoots me high. Like, and you should.
I've done that. I've personally done that in my career, like a handful of times. Where let's say I needed a very specific lane, and it's posted for like 18, and I know I can still run it fine at 15 or 16. Like, I've literally come in to quote a load under the posted rate, because I know in this market, like, everyone will just send an email, send it over. I'll tell them send it over for like 100 less or like 200 less than the posted rate. Because sometimes you just need the freight. Sometimes you need it. Like, sometimes, you made enough on the load to get there, you could take a loss. But I think if people are coming in like 400, 500, 600 under the market, that's where you got to worry, man.
Yep.
And I'll do that. I'll do that with customers freight. Like, if I know it's a good lane for me, I have a carrier I use a lot. Yeah, I'll drop my margin $100 just to make sure I win it, because I know I can undercut every other broker that's going to have to bid it.
Awarding lanes to lowest bidders, but now they can't keep their trucks or schedules. I mean, yeah, that's kind of going back to you get what you pay for. I've never undercut the posted rate. I mean, sometimes somebody really needs to get home. Sometimes it's their kid. Like, I mean, one of those times I literally remember I haven't done it many times. One guy's son was in the hospital. He got hurt playing football. And like, we just needed to get freight to get him back home. And the guy was like, I don't care what I haul this for. Like, I just want to go. Like, I mean, he's not going to deadhead 1,200 miles. But he is. I mean, at that point, he told me, if you don't book me a load in the next 60 minutes, I will deadhead 1,200 miles home to see my son. So, I don't think happen in trucking. I think we're all doing it. And Darren, maybe you tell the cigar lounge people to stop making noise.
yeah, sorry.
Next time you're gonna go to a public library if you want to be outside.
Well, see, and I was afraid to sit in the conference room because the police sirens and everything going by, and I was on a call the other day with a pretty big, potential account for us, and Trump was pulling up the Trump Tower, and it was just sirens for 15 minutes straight. The people couldn't hear what I was saying. I was like, Jesus, this could not have happened at a worse time.
Yeah. I mean, Charlie, let's get into the whole carrier thing. I mean, you're trying to call it quits, eh? You just can't handle the rates. I mean, I've been saying we all thought in the end, Q4 2023, we all thought, oh yeah, 2024 is going to be the year, and we're ending Q1 and nothing's, if anything, has got marginally worse. I mean,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it sucks. I mean, like I was telling Darren, it's bad. I mean, it unless you're hauling, in my opinion, specialized stuff, oversized stuff, hazmat, tanker freight, but just doing dry van freight is too much of a commodity. I mean, there's just too many with COVID, as we all know. People got into trucking that they didn't really have a lot of experience. They oversaturated the market, demand dropped, and here we sit. I mean, let's be honest, that's about as simple as we can put it.
man, I mean, those people that came in and thought it was a cash cow when that happened, they don't even understand the basic principles of being a carrier. And now they're the ones that are hauling unprofitable freight. And unfortunately, we just have to sit back and wait for enough of them to go out of business.
I agree. I mean, see this, I actually have my equipment paid off. I mean, I still have my equipment, but could you imagine these rates if you don't have your equipment paid off and you're paying a note?
Making truck
I don't know how there's no way. I don't see how they'd make it. You know?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, thankfully, all of my trucks, we do power only, so we're in kind of a niche market, and all of my drivers, for the most part, are true owners. They all have their own truck. You don't need a trailer, so there's no trailer payments. I mean, yeah, it's really tough. Like, I don't know how people, those mega fleets of all leased equipment are surviving through all this without, established connections, dedicated runs. It's really tough.
Well, like I was telling Darren too, if I could do it over again, I would go back to probably owner ops. I had all company drivers. Obviously, company drivers are nice because it's forced dispatch, as we know. Obviously they're just pulling your. Well, it is. I mean, they're pulling your equipment. But the point I'm making is, with an owner op, they have more skin in the game, so they're going to probably take care of obviously that truck. Well, it's their own truck, right? But if you have a company driver, are they really doing their pre-trip and their post-trips? You know what I mean? I mean, it's just you're only as good as a driver. I'd rather have a truck sit, and you're maybe the same way, than put the wrong person behind the wheel.
Yeah, we're actually in the process of that. We have one truck we're trying to fill actually with a company driver, and we hired a guy tentatively, and then he didn't accept. And long story short, we've been through like 7 to 9 drivers that we've approached, and like we're literally the same way. I'm not going to put the wrong person behind the wheel because it's just going to be a lose-lose for everybody. Like, that driver might not fit my operation, but it might fit someone else's. And I mean, I don't want to just force somebody into the seat for the sake of filling it. I mean, you definitely have to. And somebody told me in recruiting, it's kind of true. All the best drivers in this market are pretty much happy where they are, or like already established somewhere. So for the most part, like an overgeneralization of it is that the drivers that are looking for work right now are the ones that are kind of not the best. I mean, that's an overgeneralization, of course.
No,
there's going to be outliers, but somebody in recruiting made that clear. Most drivers in this market are just happy where they are. I mean, that just is what it is. So,
well, hey, since you brought up the market, I get a lot of this from comments from carriers. Oh, you're a broker. You're the reason that my rates are so low. This and that. I actually look at that a lot differently. I like when the truck rate is sky high. Because Charlie, if I call him and I'm able to get a truck because it's a tight market, and he's going to know how much of a dirtbag I am now by saying this, but I can stick an extra $200-300 on it, and nobody's going to bat an eyelash. When the rates are depressed, I have to cut my margin slim too, so we can still win the freight. So I actually prefer for truck rates, if I can make them astronomical all the time, I would love that.
Yeah, I think that's the argument I learned throughout hosting a podcast that I never actually thought of as a carrier, is because we all kind of thought that, brokers are taking our money. And then I heard this argument. I was like, man, you know what? Like, you guys are making like essentially 1% of the load. So it would benefit the broker as well if the load was paying a higher growth because you're making the same percent of a bigger number. And I think carriers need to understand that Like the brokers are not the ones that to be at blame here. And Charlie, I mean, maybe you can answer this to me since you are a shipper, because I've been saying right now, shippers are the ones that they understand the rates are down, they understand there's overcapacity. I think at this moment the shippers are winning because they're getting their stuff moved for lower rates.
Oh, absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
I mean, were you a shipper? Were you shipping freight back in 2021?
Think we lost Charlie for a second there, but yeah, he definitely was shipping in 2021. I was running.
Yeah, I want to ask him if he has any like animosity or vendetta towards like what happened back then. Is that affecting him in any ways now?
I mean, there's no in our business. There's no place for animosity or vendetta when the market flips one way or another. You just expect it. Like you just have to be ready to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll see. Does he come back in? Maybe he's got to reload, come back. Maybe it's my internet. I'm the host. I'm not even sure how it all works.
I don't know. He's not at his office today. He is at the beach house. So,
if a driver takes a load from Darren, is Darren their customer or Charlie? Seems like there's a misconception out there. If a driver takes this sounds like one of those weird math questions that you read in like elementary school. Where it's like if Johnny has 9 apples and Jill takes 2 of them, like how many apples?
I don't know if this is the answer anybody wants, but I would say I'm the one signing the check, so I'm absolutely the customer at that point because I'm the one footing the bill.
I've kind of flip-flopped on this situation, but I've kind of come around to the fact where, I mean, this is the thing, like my good brokers that I use, or even just a broker I could find today randomly off a load board that does good business. To me, like I put a value on those brokers. Like, so I'm happy that they're doing good business. I'm doing good business with them. I put them in, in a very like position of value to me in my operation. Now, this is the thing. When I need to find a random spot load and the broker's not conducting good business, at that point, you have to place them in a lesser value, I guess I'm going to lose everybody. Oh, okay.
No, Charlie tried to call me. I guess he's having trouble getting connected again.
Just send them the link again. I'll see how to do that. I mean, long story short, like I think you are right. I think I've flip-flopped on this answer a lot, and I've kind of come back to the fact that, like, yeah, the broker is definitely my customer. I think that's kind of the right take. But I think relationships come into it, man. Like, I would say a broker that's doing great business is for sure a customer. And I would say brokers that are transactional to me or that I'm transactional to, I would just view that that's a transaction. That's a one and done. I mean,
Right. And I have the same thing on my end. I mean, and yeah, if I spend 7 or 8 hours trying to cover a spot load for you and that's the only reason you gave me a shot, like, I realize that. I'm like, oh, okay, you're cheap, so you went with me because you knew I wanted the business. And 2, I'm never going to work on this again because it's a waste of my time. And unless you increase my margin percent, it's not worth it for me.
Yeah. I mean, I think that question, it really does. I mean, that's the whole thing with logistics. It really does come down to context. Like you can have all the same questions, all the same situations, but every single one's going to be slightly different than the next. So context does come into play. I think a lot of brokers are like, they're not valuing the fact that they're supposed to be sitting on the fence between the customer and the carrier. I think a lot of brokers in this, I don't know how to even call it, influencer stage, or I don't know how you want to say it, man, social networking brokers that are
heavy. Yeah, I love that word. Yeah, shout out to all my LinkedIn influencers, fucking dorks.
Yeah, the couple months of experience people that are out here giving us sales tips. All those kind of people.
Yeah, I need your live, love, laugh inspiration every morning when I log in after getting off the subway.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to me. Like a lot of brokers have lost the point that they're a middleman. That is at the root of it. Like, I mean, obviously it's much more complex than saying, yeah, you're just a middleman. Obviously, brokers provide value to both sides. That's why they exist. But I think a lot of brokers have stopped understanding that they're also supposed to be on the carrier's team. Like, I think a lot of brokers just look at carriers like, oh, that's just who's hauling my freight. they're like an afterthought in the process. You know, you see on LinkedIn every day just sales tips, just how to get shippers, how to get customers. You see like for every 1,000 sales posts, you'll see like one broker be like, I care about my carriers. You know,
Right, right. Well,
so
and hey, that's one more than said. Hey, I care about my broker. So,
yeah, I guess there's two sides to the coin on both of those. But no, I
right,
mean, like even like with this comment, we've been blessed to work with great brokers, only had a few negative ones. And that's the thing. I think there's just like a sensationalization of how big of a problem bad brokers are and how big
right,
of a problem double brokers are. Like in my day-to-day life, I don't run into bad brokers. I don't run into double brokers in my like general work week. I think we just kind of put a spotlight on that and kind of made it sound like it's a huge problem. But
right.
in
This camera is
reality,
acting weird,
like
dude. Sorry.
in reality, most brokers are doing good business. In reality, I mean, I don't know how it is for carriers. I've heard from brokers that there's a lot of bad carriers out there right now.
Yeah, I
So
mean, there's a ton. There's a ton of bad brokers. There's a ton of bad carriers. I mean, it just is what it is. You know.
I mean, it's the
Eh,
80-20 rule, man. Like, it's
mhm.
supposed to be like that. 80% of people do good business, 20 don't. I mean, I don't
Right.
know how it is in this market. I feel like those percentages are starting to shift closer to each other. But
It's a hell of a lot worse than our job. I'll put it that way, especially from the broker side. I mean, I've already had probably 10 to 12 calls this morning on my work phone of people trying to get me to double broker, and now they're catching on. They're like, "Oh, you don't co-broker?" And I'm like, "No. Why? What are you talking about?" And
I mean,
the
that's the
guy,
thing. Like, I don't understand how that whole thing works. Like, if I'm a broker and I can't move my own freight, like, I should just quit my job. Like, I don't understand that whole co-brokering thing. Like, why would
right?
that ever, be needed?
And I'd be a liar if I said I'd never done it. Like I have some friends of mine that I've worked with for years that are, they're good in a particular lane that I may not be good in. And sure, I'll throw it to them because that's my friend, and it's like, okay, yeah, I'll just split whatever margin I had on it with you if you can cover it. But I mean, it would have to be years and years and years of an established relationship before I
And
would do
I
that.
can kind of understand that thing where it's like you have a buddy like for me as a carrier, like when I see lanes, like if I'm calling on spot loads and I see like a load that it's a bomb, but my truck's not going to
Right,
be empty to pick it up, or I can't make the delivery, or if there's any reason that my truck can't take it, but I know it's a hot load, I'll
right,
just send it into like a Viber group of all my buddies that are carriers. Tell them, hey, call in for this, try to book this. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to book it for them and send it to us. Literally, like double brokering. But
right.
like, we'll always share leads with each other. I'll be like, hey, I just talked to this Illinois to Arkansas. They're paying like $4,000. Like, you should try to book it. I mean, I can see from your side, like if you have a buddy that just has so much dedicated Cleveland trucks, and
Mhm.
you find like a one-off load and be like, hey, buddy, you want to take care of that one? I can
Yes.
understand that.
Well, and two, I mean, I would have to, if I were to do that, and especially if I didn't know the person, I would have to worry about them backdooring me out of my customer. Like somebody that goes out, for drinks with me and watches the basketball games or whatever we're doing, it's going to be a little harder to do that because I'm going to see you all the time. So it's, it's,
We're gonna
yeah.
throw out the brokerage tip of the day. If you want to do some slightly gray area moves, make sure you know those people in real life.
I mean, yeah, it's just the truth. I mean, if I've got a customer and I know a friend of mine, they have dedicated trucks for that lane, sure, I'll do it. And I don't know, a lot of what you see on LinkedIn is, oh, I would never do that. Yeah, well, you're full of shit. Let yourself get in a tight enough spot, and you will.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of the things we see out there on LinkedIn, like it's just not like practical. These are all things that sound good in theory, but when you're
Right.
under the gun, when you're out in the field, like things just start happening. And
And
so
I'll tell you that I've done it. I've done it with Charlie.
yeah, this guy's because your music got like turned up about 10 minutes ago.
I know. Yeah, I wasn't counting on that, but
Hey,
I
but
could
they
walk.
got you on some nice jazz music. It's some nice chill
I could
music.
I could walk outside. If that
We're gonna
makes it
wrap
easier.
up. I mean, we already lost Charlie somehow to internet issue.
He
Maybe.
He lost his internet. He texted me.
Yeah, maybe Florida's having some weather issues. That's the whole. I would never live in
Could
Florida.
be.
I would never do it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's up in North Florida too. I don't know what it's like there today, but
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, dude, South Florida scares me, dude. It actually like terrifies me. Like that's like one place like in America that I would never be able to live at.
No, South Florida's great. Are you kidding me? That's God's country.
Yeah, let's call it misinformation for the purposes of trying to be nice. I just
Yeah.
feel like a lot of shit you read on LinkedIn is from people that are like not doing this job currently. And like I said on my last podcast, I was saying to my guest, like, I don't really trust anybody that did this 2 months ago because the market moves quickly. Like, I mean, if somebody like if I was going to hire a dispatcher and they told me, hey, I quit 3-4 months back and I want to get back, like, I want to start working and I had some issues. I like don't trust people like that, because this market is so quick. And you have
Yeah,
these
it
people on
changes.
LinkedIn that are like, oh yeah, I was working 7 months ago, 8 months ago. It's like, come on, dude, really?
Yeah. I mean, Micah's nicer than I am. She was professional. I call it personally. I just call it bullshit and keep it moving. But
Yeah, I mean, we could make a whole podcast on LinkedIn. Yeah, you know what we should do? We should just grab posts casually throughout the week that make us laugh, and then just come here on like a random Friday for 20 minutes and just roast people on LinkedIn.
I'm all for it. Like,
Yeah, I would be
yeah.
so down for that. That might be like a new show idea, man. Like,
And
just roast LinkedIn posts. Like,
I'll tell you what, if I roast your post and you're really that hurt about it, like I'll have Alex post my cell phone number before every show, and then you can
yeah,
give
you
me a
could call
call.
it live, bro. Like,
Yeah, you can call me. We'll talk on live, like, and I'll roast you while we're on the phone. Like, I'll show you how much I just don't give a shit. Like,
yeah, dude. Honestly, we should do that like once a week or like bi-weekly, and make sure you bring your laptop so people can call you, or we'll just have like a radio show, where you just call into to the host.
Yeah, no, that would be great. I think that's hilarious. I hate that we lost Charlie because I feel like you were really gonna get some of the real like aspect of why he got out of trucking, which would be beneficial to a lot of the carriers that
I
watch
mean,
your show.
literally, Florida told him you're not allowed to be on this podcast anymore.
Well, now I have a jazz band behind me, so
Yeah, I mean, let's try to wrap it up, man. And if anybody who's watching this has any more comments, questions, I'm mad we lost Charlie because he was kind of, I was vibing out with Charlie there.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll run it back, man. That's the thing for anyone watching this, whoever watches it back, Darren's going to be like a co-host, kind of friend of the show. I mean, we're going to see Darren a lot. This is definitely not the first or last time we're going to see Darren on the show. Maybe we'll bring Charlie back for like 20 minutes next time too.
Lesson learned, days that we're going to do a podcast, I'll work from home that day, so I don't have to worry about the outside distractions.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine, man. I got like a 200-year-old fireplace behind me where we're chilling today. And we got the temporary setups. We got this was like a from the hip kind of impromptu show. So
that's kind of dope. I'm not going to lie. I like the wood burning stove. Like,
the one time I was in this house like a couple months back during the winter time, and so I've never had like a wood fired like to heat my house in my life. And I had a few beers and I opened the door to put more wood into it, but I didn't realize that if you leave the door open that the smoke comes into the bedroom. so like I had just filled this room up with smoke, bro.
Yeah, that tends to be a problem. Smoke inhalation and sleep don't go well together.
Yeah, after 3 beers, everything's possible. I mean, you want to answer? You gonna answer that? I want to know. Like,
I mean, I don't know. I think I looked. I think the TMS list actively like 31 different accounts. Do I work with? I would say 65% of those on a daily basis. No.
Yeah, but that's what I was gonna say. Like, I think this question's funny because it's like you could have literally 3 customers and have like a million loads a day, and you could have like 58,000 customers and have like 1 load a day.
I mean, it's it's very misleading to somebody that's newer or whatever. It doesn't matter if I have 2 customers. If I'm hitting a $1,500 margin every load, and I move 2 loads a day for 2 customers, I've moved 4 loads for $6,000 in margin. Like, yeah, I would take that. I've never really been thrilled with whatever number it is. If I more so look at the margin percent. So I would rather have minimal customers, but with a healthy margin as opposed to just a huge number. I mean, I've been on both ends of the spectrum. So
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing. I think I saw a post about this today, but even if I didn't, like, we're both here. Like, we both agreed on this off camera. Like you're a broker to make money. Like I'm a carrier to make money.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, relationships matter. We love what we do. All of this, fun stuff. Dude, like it's work. Like we came to work to make money, and whoever says money's not their like main motivator at their job, like I just don't get it. Like
Mhm.
I wouldn't be working if I didn't need to make money. Like,
Yeah.
I'd be chilling outside in some forest somewhere, man, cooking like some goulash or something, like chilling with my life.
Yeah,
So,
well, if that's the case, walk in your boss's office right now, tell him you're a nonprofit dispatcher or broker, and he doesn't need to pay you here in a few days when it's payday. But I'm not gonna do that.
yeah, I mean, dude, like I think, like you said, there's just a lot of people out there that are just talking and talking and offering tips and talking. And I mean, theory is great. Don't get me wrong, theory is great. I mean, this is what I equate it to. I see a lot of like dispatch courses, broker courses. I'm not going to discredit any of them because I mean, some of them are like friends of mine. This and
Yeah.
that. Like, if you ask me, like me personally,
Mhm.
my opinion on theory training for logistics, I don't see the benefit. I think everyone needs to just learn logistics with their hands. Everyone needs to sit at a computer. They need to learn from somebody. They need to make their own phone calls. They need to learn how to type. And if you're not touching logistics with your own hands, you're not gonna learn. Like you can spend 3 years. If you ask me, you could spend 3 years of your life in a university being taught how to be a dispatcher,
Right.
and you would be lost on day one if you came into it. Like,
Sure. And if you're not gonna do it, I will. Yeah, I'll absolutely discredit that. I mean, you're not gonna learn
no,
how to
I'll
be.
discredit a lot of them, but like one of them is actually like my boy, so I don't want to be like shitting completely on the idea is kind of okay, but
Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, you're not gonna be a quality broker or quality dispatcher because you took one or two weekend classes. Like, that's just not how it works. Like, there's too much terminology, too many ins and outs.
I mean, to summarize this comment, it's basically
Mhm.
he was just curious, bro. I mean, that's just the quick.
Yeah, no, and I kind of picked up on that. No, I'm sorry, Drew. I wasn't phrasing my answer to say you were taking a shot at me or anything. If that's how
Yeah,
it came off.
this guy's just gonna roast you. He's like, oh, you only got 50 customers. Yeah, you suck.
No, and I'm not gonna bullshit you either. Like, there may be 2 to 4 customers I consistently work with day in and day out. I mean, sometimes they slow down in volume, so it's nice to have those other simultaneous number grab accounts to pick up for what you lost. But yeah, on a daily basis, it's not like I'm working with 15 different people.
I mean, dude, what do we talk about for a few minutes? Let's wrap this up. But I mean, I feel like you get like you say like a lot of wild shit on LinkedIn. But I mean, that's kind of like that's just kind of where you're at with it. But it's not like wild in the sense that you're ever attacking anybody. You're just you. You're just actually you. And like you like to joke around. You love to make jokes.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy that. Like, logistics
Drew
is
said, no worries, bro. He didn't take offense. He
right
didn't
on.
take it the wrong way. So.
Right. And a lot of people do, I make jokes on there and they get butthurt about it. I'm sorry. If you think I give a fuck about my LinkedIn account, you've seriously lost the plot of me just being sarcastic. Like, if LinkedIn went away tomorrow, I'd be like, okay, whatever. It's Tuesday. I'm gonna go eat tacos.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm just gonna go smoke a cigar after I made an $1,800 rip on like 2 loads.
I mean, sometimes, but I might lose $1,800 on 2 loads also, and then I'll go smoke a cigar because I'm miserable. So
You're gonna smoke the cigar out of happiness or out of sadness.
right, I just can't smoke a good one after a loss.
I mean, I've been told somebody I can't remember. I think I was just talking about it with Micah. I think we were just talking about this. I think where I was saying basically, if you get offended by anything I say on LinkedIn or my podcast or anywhere on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
like you're probably not gonna fit who I want to work with regardless. You know, like if you tell me you're on do not use, you've never run a load with me, you've never worked with me, and like
Right.
that's the thing. My LinkedIn is like it's mine. Like yeah, okay, I represent the business I work at, which is fine. But I mean that's just like who I am, and it doesn't really necessarily reflect how I do business. Like I mean, if you call my work phone, I'm not gonna be like, "Yo, what's up, man?" Like I'm not gonna answer my work phone like that.
Yeah, I mean, and if you get offended by the things I say on LinkedIn, like you're probably not going to make it in this industry very long.
Bro, this guy's just spamming the chat, but like I have a lot of I don't even know like what tattoo like this like I don't know.
I think he's talking about your freight caviar tattoo.
Bro, yeah, like actually I kind of forgot about that to be honest. It's like finally healed, thank God, man. It hurt.
There
Like,
you go.
it turned out okay. The F and the V just need to heal a little bit more, but I mean we're
Maybe I shouldn't have got tattoos in America. I look like a marked up subway car from just getting random.
Yeah, I think he was. He put like 7 times in the chat, but
Right.
yeah, dude. Honestly, Serbia for tattoos. If you ever need tattoos, man, like that tattoo, like this tattoo, literally costs like $50 or $60. Like it's insanely cheap to do tattoos here.
Yeah, Manhattan, $600.
Yeah, dude. If you bring 600 American dollars here, you could probably tattoo like most of your body.
Yeah, I need to come there and just get an acid bath and get the majority of mine taken off.
Yeah, I don't know, but no, like let's just to wrap it up. Like LinkedIn is serious. LinkedIn is a tool. LinkedIn should be a little more serious than it is. But I'm happy. Like over my time on LinkedIn, it's slowly shifted. You know, jokes are a little bit more acceptable. Memes are a little more like. I think LinkedIn is kind of like the trucking community. Our community has definitely lightened up in the sense that. I mean, dude, I want to go like joke around with people. I want to talk to people and enjoy what we do. We all share the interest of logistics. You can't really talk to you can't find somebody on the street and explain to them what we do for a living. You can't really talk to anybody what we do for a living.
No, I have people ask me all the time, and they're like, "I have no clue what that is."
Yeah.
So,
or like when you ask the person, like a random person, be like, "Hey, how much do you think a full truck costs to go from California to New York?" And they're like, "I don't know, like $80,000."
right.
So,
Oh man, yeah. Didn't you ask your mom that or something at one point?
yeah, I think she said like 50 or 60 grand from Los Angeles to New Jersey. Like,
right.
I mean, this sums it up. Mike has got to go. I got to go. You should probably go and stop smoking cigars because it's bad for your health.
Well, that, and I probably need to get back to the office, but
yeah. All right, man. Well, I mean, we'll just leave it here. Like I said, Darren, we'll definitely see more of. We'll wait around another minute. Anyone else says anything else? If you tell someone you are in trucking, a lot of times they have a couch or a refrigerator.
That's the damn truth right there.
Yeah. Can you move my car from LA to Florida?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I could. How much do you think that costs? And I'll be, I don't know, 13,000. Like,
I mean, I don't. What kind of car do you got, Drew? I still got some connections back home. I'll move your car for you. Yeah. Well, is it nice?
I'll drive your car for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. Take it easy. Let's go finish off our work days, and we'll be back on the podcast at some point.
All right, brother.
Take it easy, bro.
Later, man.